When the Thai duo Hibs announced their disbandment on January 10th, 2024, I was pretty bummed out. Ever since their inception, every single song they've released have been absolute gems, and it was quite dejecting to hear that all of it was coming to an end. I carried on unsuspectingly and swallowed the unpleasant news. Oh well, I thought. All good things eventually come to an end. But no, that's not what happened at all. All of that changed a few months ago when I discovered that the duo did not stop making music altogether. They simply chose to focus on their individual projects instead. From the remains of Hibs, James Alyn and W.I.M. were born. After checking out their individual discographies, I immediately had a favorite. In fact, it wasn't even close. James Alyn's music is lively, playful, and most importantly, it champions the magic of Hibs that encapsulated me in the first place. Anyways, I've been listening to James Alyn on repeat for a while now, and that's how I landed on today's song pick. Show Me Your Love is my personal favorite track on James Alyn's first album. So without further ado, let's break down Show Me Your Love and see what's so special about this song. This groovy song begins at a steady 110 BPM with some syncopated chords by the synths. There's nothing too crazy going on, and I think it just sounds, in a word, candid. And as we'll see, that will be the motif for this song as we continue forward. There's really nothing too much going on at any given time, but something about the way James Alyn uses synths speaks to me and makes me feel like I'm wrapped up in a warm blanket. Anyways, the only thing worth pointing out about these first few bars is that the rhythm here is kind of ambiguous if you didn't know what to expect. During my first listen through, I was kind of confused by the lack of indication of when the downbeat is and where each measure started. I had a hunch that something was off about the intro, and sure enough, after a couple more listens, I caught onto the fact that a full beat is omitted at the last measure before all the other instruments kicked in. This effectively subverts your expectations, and it's kind of like waking up on December 24th to find presents already under the Christmas tree. This isn't the only time in this song where this phenomenon happens, and in fact, the other instance of this trick is my personal favorite part of the song. But we'll have plenty of time to talk about that when we get there. The intro comes into full play after a snare flam and a bass pickup, showcasing all of its instruments. On the low end, the drums play a 4 on the floor beat, with some occasional open hats, and the bass blesses our ears with this silky smooth bass line. Seriously, I can't get over how groovy it is. In the middle, this dreamy saw synth regales your attention, accompanied by yet another saw synth to accent the resolutions. In the background, though, notice the subtle pad synth outlining the chord progression, and more importantly the electric guitar, plucking away playfully. The guitar is especially interesting with regards to the way that it is panned in the mix. Here's a playback of the audio with the middle channel completely removed. Notice how the two separate voices of the guitars are panned separately. With headphones on, you should be able to identify the encapsulating effect this has on the mix. Altogether, the intro is super vibey and sets the relaxing stage upon which the rest of the song can play out on. As we enter the first verse, a fair number of instruments are dropped, as usual, to make room for the vocals. Only the pad synth and the rhythm core remain to maintain the momentum. Apart from the simplification of the bass line, there's really no other remarkable observations to make, So it's the perfect opportunity to talk about music theory. Yay! Alright, stay with me here. I promise it'll be bite-sized and digestible. So anyways, this song is in the key of E flat major, and it follows the progression of F minor 7, B flat 7, E flat major 7, to E diminished. But due to the jazzy nature of the song, it would be a missed opportunity not to comment on the presence of these cool chord extensions. For those unfamiliar with chord extensions, here's a short crash course on what they are. You might already know that certain chords have a certain characteristics associated with them. For example, major chords are happy, or minor chords are sad, are prime and a bit cliche examples. To an extent, they're true, but things get a bit more nuanced if you take a more analytical approach. To oversimplify things, take these three basic chords in jazz: the major 7th, minor 7th, and the dominant 7th chord. Chained together, they form the most rudimentary progression, the 2-5-1. Notice how the minor chord sounds mellow and melancholic, how the dominant chord sounds intense and unsettled, and how the major 7th chord is relaxed and resolved. If you think of these descriptions as the bass flavor for these chords, then extensions act as modifiers that change the flavor of these basses. For example, one of my personal favorites, and one used here in the song, is a flat 9th on the dominant chord, which amplifies the intensity of the dominant chord and causes a more satiating resolution. This is precisely what happens here in the song, along with a few other extensions, and they provide the necessary flavor to this progression.
Looking at the city lights, it's sensational. Looking at you, baby, I don't wanna let you go. Like the flowers they
The song picks up a bit in the pre-chorus, and with some subtle compositional choices, I think this section beautifully builds tension and suspense, but in a playful manner. Let's see how. Firstly, a few melodic synths are introduced to replace the tame pad synth, which effectively enriches the mix with some more elements for your brain to process. The same can be said about this guitar and piano element playing syncopated chords. Along with the intensification of the bass line and the introduction of some percussion elements, these instrumental changes give this section a noticeable lift. Secondly, let's take a closer look at the vocals. Compared to the verse, where the melody mostly consists of stepwise monophonic melodic movements, the pre-chorus is much more expressive, with its pronounced jumps and its introduction of some harmony.
waiting for the light, we'll be intertwined. Waiting for the light, we'll be intertwined.
Thirdly, the chord progression changes up too, opting to simplify to a progression that purposefully avoids the tonic chord. Needless to say, the lack of resolution to the tonic chord builds tension, which is in line with the purpose of the pre-chorus. Lastly, let's take a look at the structure of this section. You might have expected this section to conform to the standard 8 measures, which behaves in line with this song's other sections. But the observant among you might have noticed that there is an additional measure here at the end of the section, increasing the total measure count to an unwieldy 9 measures. This begs the question, what is the purpose of this last measure? Well, as you come to appreciate, this measure is actually paramount for maintaining the flow of this song. If you remove it entirely, the pre-chorus to chorus transition would feel incredibly rushed. But if you drag it out for longer, the transition would feel out of place. One measure is the perfect balance of symmetry and asymmetry, and its presence breathes some punctuation into this song. In fact, I didn't even notice this additional measure when I listened to the song for the first few times. That goes to show just how natural and fitting this transition is.
Like the flowers they bloom.
The arrival of the chorus usually marks the most intense or interesting part of the song, but as you see here, there is really no visual indication of that at all. The number of instruments remain roughly identical to the pre-chorus. So why is it that the chorus sounds so much more eventful compared to the pre-chorus? In my opinion, there's two main reasons why, and they are totally fascinating in their own respect. Firstly, let's take a look at the instrumentation as usual. Namely, the chorus marks the introduction of this organ-like synth with an intense and tumultuous undertone. And this is the instrument that provides the factor and brings out the emotional side of the section. On the other end of the spectrum, we find the other piece of the puzzle. This new guitar pattern teases us with playful and groovy motifs, and this is the instrument that lightens up the atmosphere. When these two instruments blend together, they create the perfect atmosphere, simultaneously tense and relaxed, heavy and light. And given the context of this song, maybe even obsessed and nonchalant. Secondly, there is a vocal trick employed here in this section that gives impact. That trick is playing with side and middle channels. For those unfamiliar with music production, you can think of the side channels as audio unique to the left or right ears, and the middle channel as audio that plays for both the right and the left ears. So if you pay attention to only the vocals in this section, you'll notice that it switches between the middle channel and the left-right channels. Effectively, this tricks your brain into perceiving the vocals as spatially separate.
Show me your love, show me your love. I'll be a gentleman. Show me your love, show me your love. I hope you understand.
That's pretty neat, right? The second verse, interestingly enough, is noticeably different than the first one. Firstly, both the lyrics and the melody for the vocals are completely new and echoes the motif from the chorus.
Looking at the city lights is sensational. All my attention is meant just for you. Give me a chance, baby. I'll be the best that you are.
There's also some cool harmony here at the end of the section, which sounds pretty harrowing and melancholic. There's also a nice addition of some synths, which serve to differentiate this verse from the first verse. And of course, we can't forget about the mini pause at the start of this section, which serves as a transition from the intense chorus down to the relaxing verse.
All my attention is meant just for you. We got that connection, you know that's the truth. Show me affection or give me a clue. Like the flowers they do.
The pre-chorus section comes around for the second time, and as far as I'm concerned, it's just a copy and paste of the first one with some distinctions. Notably, more vocal harmonies are added, which fills in the previously unharmonized gaps.
Like the flowers they bloom. Like the flowers they bloom. Like the flowers they bloom.
And although the addition of a ninth measure is still featured, its contents change from a synth fill to a drum fill. And as a result, the vocals this time around does not have a very heavy delay effect to it.
Calling me insane, I'm aiming for Mars. Calling me insane, I'm aiming for Mars. Like the flowers they bloom, waiting for the light, we'll be intertwined. Flew too close to the stars. Calling me insane, I'm aiming for Mars.
Much like the pre-chorus, more vocal harmonies fill in the previously unharmonized phrases, which subtly add some character.
I'll be a gentleman. I'll be a gentleman. I'll be a gentleman.
But besides this minor detail, what is really worth commenting on happens as we approach the end of the chorus, which is my favorite part of the song. What might appear to be a haphazard half-measure segment randomly inserted between the chorus and the bridge turns out to be a total game changer. These two beats, although minuscule in length, make an indelible impression on the listener by sharply contrasting the intense chorus and the bridge section sandwiching it. Whereas the chorus is loud, it is quiet. Whereas the chorus is packed with eighth notes and syncopations, it is spacious and minimalistic. Whereas the chorus is harmonically rich, it exclusively features percussive elements. And most importantly, whereas the chorus is cohesive and contains full measures, it completely subverts your expectations by splitting the measure in half. It's almost like the song can't wait any longer to arrive at the bridge. All of these elements in combination acts like a reset button, and packs a unique punch to the song that is unmistakably engaging. For this section only, I'll let the song play on for a while longer, just so you can hear the magic of this half-measure reset. Following the high of the chorus comes the even higher high of the bridge. There's so much to say about this section. Where do I begin? Let's start with the observation that several familiar elements quietly make their return. Namely, the melodic synth from the intro, dormant for quite some time now, resurfaces here. It instantly evokes a sense of nostalgia, at least for me. Similarly, the guitar strums from the intro also reappears, further heightening the familiarity. And much like the phenomenon between the verse and the pre-chorus, the vocal melody here is noticeably more dynamic. Instead of smooth, stepwise motions we heard in the chorus, the bridge opts for wider jumps and daring leaps, creating a sense of emotional volatility. Even the auxiliary percussion, which I've neglected for the past however many sections, gets busier, adding a layer of rhythmic tension that propels the song forward. In isolation, you can definitely hear how populated the percussion is. The more you look at this section, the more you will realize that this isn't exactly a bridge in the traditional sense. It doesn't actually connect two sections at all. Instead, it gives us something new and exciting. The hybrid section is the climax of the song, and that much is obvious, at least visually. The entire score is densely populated by the instruments, some of which are carried over from the chorus, and others are newly introduced, such as this synth and more auxiliary percussion. Notably though, the drum beat, which before now has remained pretty much static for the entire song, becomes much more upbeat and features these open hats, adding some commotion to this finale. I also want to shine some light on this cool lick here in the bass line. Look at the notes. It's a C to F to B flat to E flat. It's just a stack of 3 perfect fifths. Isn't that pretty cool? This part of the song feels enthusiastically joyful and just a tad bit optimistic. It's hard not to vibe along. The song ends the same way as it began, with the 2 synths echoing the same melody and harmony as before. This time, though, there's an additional piano element, outlining the chord structures. It's a fitting outro for a down-to-earth song, and there's not much to say about it. I hope this video was able to insightfully comment on how small-scale instrumental and compositional choices accumulate to produce this beautiful song. Let's take a step back, summarize our findings, and take a look at the bigger picture. Holistically speaking, what about the song makes it so special? In my opinion, this song can be examined through 3 perspectives, and in conjunction, they explain its brilliance. Firstly, there's the delicate balance between the gentle groove and the intense atmosphere. Throughout the song, we've seen how the heartfelt organ synth beautifully contrasts the lighthearted guitar. Despite their opposing nature, these 2 instruments blend together to paint a simultaneously tense and relaxed atmosphere. This effect persists into the bridge and the hybrid section, and continues to engage the listener in this dichotomy. Secondly, key structural and spatial elements deserve their recognition. The panning of instruments and vocals at several sections widens the mix, and without it, the song would otherwise sound dull and wide-dimensional. We also see the clever use of additional measures and half measures to punctuate and facilitate the transition between sections. Together with the panning, these 2 techniques really do make an impression on you, even if you don't realize it. Finally, despite its complexity, this song remains refreshingly simple and cohesive. Although the background is detailed and packed with subtle synth and percussion, it never distracts you from the main vocals. And yet, the vocals aren't obnoxiously over-engineered or overproduced either. It's honest, bright, and it does not pretend to be something bigger than it actually is. Every instrument sits comfortably in the mix, occupying exactly the amount of space they are allotted. What more can you ask for? And that brings us to the end of our analysis of Show Me Your Love by James Alyn. I hope you had a good time watching.